when the story suddenly changed. For months, the tension had been there, but it lived in the background. Quiet, subtle, easy to dismiss if you weren't paying close attention. Then suddenly, everything shifted. Almost overnight, timelines filled with the same unsettling question. Did Yandy finally reach her breaking point? According to a growing wave of online reports and fan commentary, the marriage between Yandy and Mendeecees may be facing its most serious test yet. This time, the conversation isn't centered on another heated argument, another emotional scene, or another moment viewers chalk up to reality TV stress. Instead, one word has completely changed the tone of the discussion: divorce. Nothing has been officially confirmed. No statements, no legal filings made public, no direct words from either side. But that silence hasn't slowed the internet down. In fact, it's done the opposite. Blogs, commentary channels, and fan pages are all repeating a similar narrative. After months of visible strain and unresolved issues, Yandy may have asked for a divorce. And for fans who once believed this marriage could survive anything, that idea hit hard. What's shocking isn't just the rumor itself. It's how quickly the entire relationship is now being reinterpreted. Moments that once felt like routine tension are suddenly being viewed as warning signs. Conversations that seemed emotional but manageable are now being described as possible goodbye talks in disguise. Fans are going back, replaying scenes, rewatching clips, and reading between the lines with a completely different lens. People aren't asking if there were problems anymore. They're asking how long those problems had been quietly building. According to the reports circulating online, this wasn't a sudden decision sparked by one bad argument. The speculation suggests something much deeper, a slow accumulation of emotional exhaustion, unresolved conflicts, repeated conversations that led nowhere, the feeling of being stuck in the same cycle over and over again. Commentators claim the tension had been growing quietly for months, not explosive, not dramatic, just heavy. The kind of heaviness that settles into a relationship when issues stop being solved and start being endured. Fans who follow the relationship closely say the shift in energy became noticeable long before divorce rumors ever surfaced. Smiles looked forced. Playful moments felt shorter. Conversations carried an undercurrent of frustration that didn't quite disappear when the cameras stopped rolling. To many viewers, it felt like something was being held back. And according to these discussions, Yandy appeared emotionally worn down. Online reports suggest she may have felt like she was constantly pushing for understanding, while receiving very little in return. Fans analyzing the situation say this wasn't about one argument or one disagreement. It was about the same issues resurfacing again and again, without real resolution. Every attempt to clear the air reportedly ended the same way, with frustration, disappointment, and the feeling of not being heard. That repetition matters, because when problems don't change, the emotional cost multiplies. Meanwhile, Mendeecees' alleged response to the growing tension has become a major point of debate. According to online commentary, he appeared to handle conflict differently. Rather than leaning into difficult conversations, fans say he often seemed to shut down. Some viewers believe he tried to minimize issues by labeling them as small or temporary, while Yandy allegedly felt those same issues were symptoms of something much deeper. That difference in perspective, fans argue, may have created a widening emotional gap. Social media reactions intensified as more commentary videos framed the situation as serious rather than temporary. For years, this marriage was viewed as resilient, one that survived pressure, criticism, and challenges that might have broken other couples. Many supporters believed that if they could get through past struggles, they could survive anything. That belief is exactly why these rumors hit so hard. The idea that divorce is even being discussed feels unreal to many fans. People online began revisiting recent moments with new eyes. Scenes that once felt tense but manageable were suddenly labeled as warning signs. Viewers pointed out pauses in conversations, changes in tone, moments where emotions seemed to spill over before being quickly shut down. Fans debated whether they were witnessing normal relationship stress or the slow unraveling of something far more serious. According to reports gaining traction, the issue was never about a single disagreement. It was about emotional imbalance. Commentary suggests Yandy felt like she was fighting for the relationship on every front, with family, with friends, and within herself. Meanwhile, the narrative forming online suggests Mendeecees may not have been matching that same level of emotional effort. For many fans, that imbalance became the heart of the story. As speculation continued, discussions expanded beyond the couple themselves. People began talking about how close friends and family might be reacting behind the scenes. While nothing has been confirmed, reports claim there were private conversations long before the public caught on. Some fans believe those close to Yandy encouraged patience and communication at first. Others speculate that she may have eventually been advised to protect her peace if nothing was changing. These unverified claims only added fuel to an already intense conversation. But what truly shifted the tone was how the word divorce was described in these reports. According to commentary, it wasn't allegedly mentioned in anger or during a blow-up. It was supposedly raised after emotional exhaustion set in. And fans emphasize that reaching that point usually means someone feels out of options. That idea alone caused many viewers to sympathize deeply with Yandy. At the same time, there has been strong pushback. Some fans argue that reality TV relationships are constantly misunderstood and unfairly judged. They say editing, public pressure, and online narratives can distort reality. From this perspective, divorce talk is just another rumor blown out of proportion by the internet. This divide has split the fan base almost evenly. What adds another layer of emotion to the situation is the presence of children. Fans repeatedly mention that the stakes go far beyond entertainment. This isn't just about drama, it's about family stability, emotional well-being, and the long-term impact of constant tension. Many express hope that regardless of what's true, peace and clarity come first. As the reports continue circulating, the silence from the couple has only intensified speculation. No confirmations, no denials, just quiet. Fans analyze body language, timing, and even absence as potential signals. Every day without a statement feels louder than the last. Through all the noise, one theme stands out clearly in these discussions. The narrative forming online suggests this situation is not about scandal or betrayal. It's about emotional fatigue, about what happens when conversations stop leading to solutions and start repeating themselves. Whether these reports reflect reality or rumor, they've forced fans to confront an uncomfortable possibility. Even the strongest-looking relationships can reach a breaking point when unresolved tension is allowed to grow. And according to the internet, that breaking point may be closer than anyone expected. When exhaustion, replaces anger. As the online discussion grew louder, something interesting happened. The tone around Yandy and Mendeecees shifted from shock to analysis. Fans stopped reacting emotionally and started dissecting patterns. Timelines were pieced together. Old conversations were replayed. Subtle behaviors that once seemed insignificant suddenly felt important. Many viewers began saying the same thing. Tension like this rarely appears out of nowhere. It builds slowly, layer by layer, until even small moments feel heavy. And according to fan commentary, that's exactly what made this situation feel different. What stood out most in the reports circulating online wasn't rage or explosive conflict. It was exhaustion. Commentators repeatedly emphasized that Yandy no longer appeared to be arguing to win or prove a point. According to the narrative forming online, she was allegedly speaking from a place of fatigue. Fans discussing the situation say there is a clear difference between anger and exhaustion. Anger still believes something can change. Exhaustion happens when someone feels like they've already tried everything. And many believe that's what they were seeing. Fans began revisiting moments where Yandy wasn't demanding dramatic changes or grand gestures. Instead, she appeared to be asking for basic understanding. In those conversations, viewers say she seemed less focused on confrontation and more focused on clarity. When clarity didn't come, frustration followed, then silence, then distance. According to reports, This cycle repeated so often that it slowly wore her down emotionally. This interpretation resonated deeply with supporters who saw their own experiences reflected in her alleged emotional journey. Comment sections filled with people sharing stories about relationships where one partner felt like they were carrying the emotional weight alone, trying, waiting, hopping, and eventually questioning whether continuing was worth the cost. On the other side, Mendeecees' reported reactions became a major point of debate. Some fans argue that his approach, as described in online commentary, reflected someone overwhelmed by constant conflict. Others believe it showed emotional avoidance. Discussions intensified as people debated intent versus impact. Even those defending him acknowledged one thing: shutting down during serious conversations can make problems feel bigger, especially when one partner is actively seeking resolution. That mismatch in communication styles became central to the story. According to the reports, Yandy allegedly felt like unresolved issues were piling up, while Mendeecees appeared to view those same issues as manageable or temporary. Fans say when one person sees a crack and the other sees nothing serious, frustration becomes inevitable. Over time, that gap can turn into emotional distance. As speculation intensified, reactions became more polarized. Some fans expressed disappointment, believing both sides contributed to the breakdown. Others placed more emotional responsibility on Mendeecees, arguing that consistency and reassurance matter just as much as loyalty. Emotions ran high as people projected their own relationship experiences onto the situation, turning a celebrity discussion into something deeply personal. Another layer gaining attention was the role of friends and extended family. While nothing has been confirmed, commentary suggests those close to the couple may have noticed the strain long before the public did. Fans speculate that early advice may have focused on patience and communication. But as time passed and patterns didn't change, some believe the advice shifted toward honesty and self-preservation. The idea that Yandy may have felt supported in choosing herself resonated strongly with many viewers. What truly escalated the conversation, however, was how consistently the word divorce appeared across multiple sources. Even without confirmation, the repetition made it harder for fans to dismiss entirely. People emphasized that divorce is not a word most couples casually introduce, especially after years of shared history. According to the narrative forming online, the idea allegedly surfaced only after hope for meaningful change began to fade. As that possibility settled in, fans began questioning what staying together actually means. Discussions shifted away from appearances and toward emotional health. Many argued that staying in a marriage without peace can be more damaging than walking away. Others countered that every long-term relationship goes through phases of doubt. This clash of perspectives kept the conversation alive and constantly evolving. Public perception added even more pressure. Fans pointed out how difficult it must be to navigate private struggles under constant scrutiny. According to commentary, public opinion may have amplified existing issues. Every disagreement became a talking point. Every silence became suspicious. Some viewers questioned whether the relationship ever had space to heal without outside noise influencing decisions. Children remained at the center of many discussions. Fans repeatedly mentioned the importance of emotional safety and stability. According to reactions online, this factor alone could weigh heavily on any decision being considered. Some believe this is why Yandy reportedly held on as long as she did. Others think it's also why the tension became unbearable over time. Either way, the presence of children raised the stakes far beyond entertainment. As days passed, silence from the couple continued to dominate the conversation. No confirmations, no denials, just quiet. For many fans, that silence felt loud. Some interpreted it as strategic. Others saw it as evidence of deep complexity behind the scenes. Supporters searched for reassurance in old photos, past interviews, and even subtle online activity. Every post, or lack of one, was analyzed. Amid all the speculation, a recurring theme emerged. This situation does not feel like scandal. it feels like emotional disconnect. According to many fans, it looks like what happens when two people start speaking different emotional languages and neither feels fully understood. That realization alone made the reports feel believable to many, even without confirmation. By this point, the narrative had shifted again. The focus was no longer just on whether divorce was mentioned, but on why the relationship may have reached this point at all. Fans began acknowledging an uncomfortable truth. Strong bonds can weaken when unresolved issues linger too long. Love alone is not always enough. Whether exaggerated or accurate, these reports forced viewers to confront broader realities about emotional labor in long-term relationships. As discussions continued, sympathy began emerging on both sides. While many strongly related to Yandy's reported exhaustion, others acknowledged that navigating conflict is rarely one-sided. Some fans admitted relationships often fail not because one person stops caring, but because both stop understanding each other. This more balanced view softened some of the harsher judgments seen earlier. Still, the uncertainty remained. No closure, no clarity, no final answers, just ongoing speculation and emotional investment from fans trying to understand how months of tension may have led to such a serious crossroads. And according to the internet, this story was only getting heavier. When the word divorce changed everything. By the time the conversation reached this stage, fans could feel it. This was no longer just speculation fueled by emotion. The narrative around Yandy and Mendeecees had shifted into something heavier, more deliberate, and far more unsettling. The repeated mention of one word had altered everything. Divorce. Even unconfirmed, that word carries weight. And according to the reports circulating online, it didn't surface during a screaming match or a dramatic confrontation. Commentary suggests it allegedly entered the conversation quietly, after months of emotional strain had already taken their toll. Fans say that detail matters. Because when divorce is mentioned calmly rather than angrily, many believe it signals something deeper. Not impulse, not manipulation, but exhaustion. The kind of exhaustion that comes after every option feels explored and every conversation feels recycled. According to the narrative forming online, this moment may have marked a turning point where the marriage itself was no longer being debated emotionally, but evaluated realistically. That realization sent shockwaves through the fan base. People began asking harder questions. Not just what went wrong, but when did things stop feeling fixable? And how long had Yandy been quietly processing this before anyone else noticed? Fans analyzing the situation say that what allegedly happened between Yandy and Mendeecees feels less like one explosive event and more like two people slowly drifting apart. According to commentary, distance didn't arrive suddenly. It crept in quietly through unresolved conversations, unmet expectations, and emotional needs that never fully aligned. Supporters discussing the report's claim, Yandy's mindset appeared to shift over time. Early on, fans say she seemed hopeful, still engaged, still believing that honest communication could repair what felt broken. But as months passed, the tone described in these reports allegedly changed. Instead of asking how to fix things, she was reportedly questioning whether fixing things was even possible anymore. And fans say that stage is often the most painful. Because that's when emotional detachment begins, not loudly, but silently. Viewers revisiting recent interactions believe Yandy was no longer reacting in the heat of the moment. Instead, she appeared calm but firm, measured, controlled. To many, that didn't look like anger, it looked like acceptance. People online often say when emotions become quiet instead of loud, it means a decision has already started forming beneath the surface. That interpretation added weight to the divorce rumors. Meanwhile, Mendeecees' role in this unfolding narrative remained intensely debated. According to fan commentary, his reported reactions appeared inconsistent. Some moments suggested he wanted peace and stability. Others gave the impression that he wanted conflict to disappear without deeper discussion. Fans remain divided on whether this reflects emotional fatigue or emotional avoidance. Either way, many agree on one thing: mismatched communication styles can slowly erode even the strongest connections. As reactions poured in, fans began projecting their own lived experiences onto the story. Comment sections filled with personal testimonies, relationships where one partner felt like they were carrying the emotional load alone, trying harder, waiting longer, hopping deeper, until one day, continuing felt more painful than letting go. Those stories echoed the same theme fans see in the reports about Yandy. Another aspect that gained attention was timing. According to these reports, the idea of divorce allegedly surfaced after a long period of internal conflict, not during chaos, but during clarity. Fans emphasize that this detail changes everything. When someone raises divorce calmly, many believe it means they've already exhausted every other option privately. Public reaction intensified as more commentary channels framed the situation as a genuine crossroads rather than temporary drama. Fans admitted they resisted this narrative at first. Many wanted to believe the marriage would survive like it always had, but repeated reports slowly chipped away at that certainty. Confidence turned into doubt, doubt turned into questions, and questions refused to go away. Family considerations continued to dominate discussion. Fans repeatedly mentioned how difficult it must be to weigh personal happiness against family stability. According to commentary, this internal conflict may have been one of the heaviest burdens Yandy carried. People speculating online suggest that staying for the sake of family can only last so long if emotional well-being continues to decline. This sparked intense debate. Some argued that enduring hardship is part of commitment. Others countered that sacrificing emotional health indefinitely can damage everyone involved. Both sides spoke passionately, revealing just how deeply this story resonated beyond celebrity gossip. At the same time, a strong group urged caution. They reminded everyone that public figures live under constant scrutiny. That silence does not equal confirmation, and that absence of denial does not automatically mean agreement. These fans argue the internet often exaggerates normal marital challenges and turns them into irreversible narratives. This pushback kept the conversation from becoming one-sided, but it didn't stop speculation. What made the situation even more complicated was the lack of resolution in every report. No signs of reconciliation, no signs of final separation, just uncertainty. And fans say uncertainty is what keeps emotions raw. Without answers, people fill gaps with theories. Every new commentary video adds another layer of interpretation without removing confusion. And each passing day without clarity deepens emotional investment. Another theme resurfaced repeatedly: the emotional toll of living under constant public attention. According to commentary, the pressure to maintain an image while dealing with real issues can intensify stress. Fans speculate that this pressure may have limited honest expression early on, allowing resentment to grow quietly. By the time issues surfaced publicly, they may have already been deeply rooted. As reports continued circulating, one idea kept resurfacing again and again: love alone is not always enough. Viewers discussing the situation argued that effort, communication, and emotional safety are just as critical. When those elements feel unbalanced, even long-standing relationships can reach a breaking point. This broader realization transformed the conversation. What began as celebrity speculation turned into a reflection on long-term relationships, emotional labor, and the limits of patience. Many supporters admitted that regardless of what ultimately proves true, the story felt deeply relatable. Sympathy emerged for both sides. While many strongly connected with Yandy's reported exhaustion, others acknowledged that navigating conflict is rarely one-sided. Fans began recognizing that relationships often don't end because one person stops caring, but because both stop feeling understood. That shift in perspective softened some earlier judgments. Still, the silence remained. No confirmations, no explanations, just ongoing reports and reactions. Fans say this silence feels heavy, like something unresolved is still unfolding behind closed doors. Public perception has already changed. What once felt stable now feels fragile. Even those skeptical of the reports admit the conversation has permanently altered how they view the marriage. Uncertainty replaced confidence. As this phase of the narrative settled in, one thing became clear. This is no longer just about whether divorce was mentioned. It's about why the relationship may have reached this point at all. And that question refuses to fade. When silence, BCOMES, the LOUDESD answer. By the time the conversation reached this point, something undeniable had happened. The narrative surrounding Yandy and Mendeecees was no longer driven by shock or gossip alone. It had evolved into something deeper, something quieter, heavier, and far more reflective. Fans weren't just reacting anymore. They were asking uncomfortable questions about emotional endurance, limits, and what happens when love meets reality. According to commentary circulating online, this stage is often the most decisive phase in a relationship's breakdown. Not because of arguments, but because of clarity. People discussing the situation say that once the idea of divorce enters the conversation, even as a possibility, it permanently changes the emotional landscape. Nothing feels theoretical anymore. Everything becomes real. Reports suggest that for Yandy, this alleged shift may not have been about punishment or anger. Instead, fans interpret it as a search for emotional honesty. When hope for meaningful change starts to fade, continuing the same cycle can feel more painful than facing an ending. And according to supporters, that realization alone can be emotionally overwhelming. As reactions evolved, some fans began expressing concern for Mendeecees as well. While much of the online sympathy has focused on Yandy's reported exhaustion, others pointed out that emotional withdrawal can also come from feeling overwhelmed or misunderstood. Fans emphasized that two people can be hurting at the same time, but in very different ways. This perspective added nuance to a conversation that initially leaned heavily toward blame. Still, the central theme remained consistent across most reports. Months of unresolved tension led to a moment where the marriage itself was questioned. Commentators argue that this kind of crossroads doesn't appear suddenly. It's usually preceded by countless attempts to communicate, compromise, and hold things together quietly. When those efforts repeatedly fail, the emotional cost can become unbearable. Fans also began speculating about what reconciliation would even look like at this point. Some believe that if trust and communication have eroded this far, rebuilding would require more than promises. It would demand sustained effort, vulnerability, and change from both sides. Others argue that sometimes the healthiest choice is acknowledging when a chapter has reached its natural end. This debate sparked intense emotional responses, with viewers questioning whether staying together or walking away truly represents strength. Another recurring theme that emerged was personal identity. According to commentary, Yandy has long been seen as someone balancing family, career, and emotional responsibility. Fans speculate that choosing herself, if these reports are accurate, could represent reclaiming emotional balance rather than giving up. Many framed the alleged decision not as failure, but as self-preservation. This interpretation resonated deeply with viewers who see their own experiences reflected in the situation. The silence surrounding the couple continued to fuel speculation. No confirmations, no denials, no detailed explanations. Fans say this silence leaves space for imagination to run wild. Every day without clarity adds another layer of assumption. Some interpret the silence as privacy. Others see it as negotiation. Still others believe it signals unresolved conflict still unfolding behind closed doors. Public perception has already shifted. What once felt like a stable marriage now feels fragile in the minds of many viewers. Even those who doubt the reports admit that the conversation has permanently altered how they see the relationship. Confidence has been replaced by uncertainty. Questions now follow every new piece of commentary that emerges. Some fans are urging patience. They remind others that public narratives often oversimplify complex realities. Relationships are rarely as clear-cut as headlines suggest. According to this group, the truth likely exists somewhere between rumor and reality. This call for restraint slowed some of the more extreme reactions, though it didn't stop speculation entirely. Children remained a constant focus throughout these discussions. Fans repeatedly stressed that any decision made behind the scenes carries long-term emotional consequences beyond the couple themselves. According to commentary, this reality alone could complicate every step forward. Whether together or apart, the priority many hope for is emotional stability and peace for the family involved. As the narrative reached this stage, one thing became clear. The reports claiming that Yandy asked for divorce transformed what once felt like a familiar reality TV storyline into a broader conversation about emotional endurance. Viewers were no longer just watching drama. They were reflecting on communication boundaries, emotional labor, and the limits of patience in long-term relationships. Many supporters admitted that regardless of what ultimately proves true, the situation struck a nerve. It mirrored experiences people recognize in their own lives: the slow buildup of tension, the feeling of carrying more emotional weight than feels fair, and the moment when continuing starts to feel heavier than stopping. That relatability is why the story continues to resonate so strongly. As speculation continues, the future remains uncertain. No clear outcomes have emerged. Reconciliation, separation, or continued ambiguity all remain possible. Fans are left waiting, analyzing, and emotionally invested in what comes next. Emotions ran high at every stage of this unfolding narrative, and they show no sign of settling anytime soon. For now, the marriage stands at the center of intense discussion, shaped more by reports and reactions than confirmed facts. Whether these claims reflect reality or rumor, they've already left a mark on public perception. Months of tension, as described in these reports, appear to have led to a moment where everything feels uncertain. And until clarity arrives, fans will continue watching closely, wondering whether this chapter ends in resolution or final separation. Final call to action. If you've been following these reports and all the online reactions, now it's your turn to weigh in. Nothing here has been confirmed, but the conversations surrounding Yandy and Mendeecees have clearly struck a nerve with fans everywhere. Do you think these reports are being exaggerated by the internet? Or do you believe months of unresolved tension really can lead to a breaking point like this? Ask yourself this. If you were in a situation where conversations kept going in circles and nothing seemed to change, how long would you keep fighting before questioning everything? Many fans say this story feels relatable because it reflects real-life relationships, not just reality TV drama. Others believe there's still more to the story that hasn't been shared publicly yet. Where do you stand? Do you think the signs were there all along? Or do you feel this is just another wave of rumors amplified by social media? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We're reading every response, and your perspective helps shape the conversation around stories like this. And if you don't want to miss how this situation continues to unfold, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We bring you the latest commentary, reactions, and updates as new reports emerge, always breaking things down without jumping to conclusions. This story is far from over. New reactions, new reports, and new twists are coming, and we'll be here to cover all of it. Until next time, keep the discussion respectful, stay critical of what you read online, and we'll see you in the next one.